Rev up your engines!
Anbo says he doesn't even answer all the questions. Okay, how can I answer all the questions here? There are so many of them. That's why I'm doing this live car talk. Now, when I started in 2007 on YouTube, a long time ago, I actually answered every single question people ask me, every comment they put on my videos. There's no way I can answer all the questions that people ask. It's impossible. Every time I answer one, another one pops up. So what I do is I pick the best ones by reading it, analyzing it, and picking the ones that are going to give people the best answers that will help the most people. That's how it works. Because there's only one Scotty. You can't clone me off, at least not with modern day technology. People will complain about anything. No, that's life these days, you know. We live in a whiny society. Jerry Rice says, is a 2002 Dodge Intrepid for $6,500 a good car? No, they're not good cars anyways. They wear out, especially if they got that horrendous V6 engine that Chrysler made. And it's an 18-year-old Dodge, so it's probably falling apart anyway. Plus, that's way too much money for it. Run away. Look for a better car. Look for a Camry or a Honda Accord or something like that that's used. That's going to last a long time. Those Dodges were terrible, and my customers, those Intrepids, to a man and woman, the ones that bought it after, if they kept them more than 7, 8 years, they said, I will never, ever buy another Dodge product. So don't waste your money on that. Lars says, '07 Highlander, 100,000 miles. Should I buy? Depends on the price and what condition it's in. Now, those can be excellent vehicles. I got a customer who's got a 2007 Highlander, and he has 375,000 miles on it. It still runs like a clock. So that tells you they're well built. It has 100,000 miles on it. You're not getting any guarantee. You don't want to pay way too much money. People always ask a lot of money for Toyotas, but they're excellent vehicles if taken care of. But as with any used vehicle, you gotta pay a guy like me, a professional mechanic, to check it out before you throw your money out. Because people lie, cheat, and steal. You don't know if it's wrecked, flooded, stolen. And a good mechanic's gonna tell you if it's in good shape or not. Especially something like 2007, where we mechanics with our fancy scan tools plug them in, and we get so much data, they can't hide anything from us anymore. Killer Up 93 says, I have a very interesting question. I gone to 2 mechanics. They both told me I had a blown head gasket, but no smoke or milky oil. It used to overheat, but it hasn't in 6 months. What you want to do is watch my video, how to tell if your head gasket's blown. There is a test. You get a little test tube, it's got blue liquid you pour in it. If it changes yellow or green, it means your head gasket's starting to blow. Do that yourself. You can go to Amazon. They have kits for 30-something bucks you can buy. It's going to take you 15 minutes to do the test. Very simple. If the blue doesn't change color, they're full of crap. Don't worry about it and drive the vehicle. If it does, but it still runs okay, put a little sealer in, see how long it lasts. You never know. You never know. But that's a definitive test. Do that test. Then you'll know for sure. What it tests for is exhaust gas in your radiator. And the only way you get exhaust gas in your radiator is if the head gasket's blowing or there's a crack in the engine or something. That is a definitive test. Like I say, you can go to Amazon. You can buy the kit for 30-something bucks. Do it yourself and watch my video, how to tell if your head gasket's blown. You can easily do that test yourself. Anybody can do it at home. Is AF. What are the common symptoms of a bad oil pump? Oil pumps pump oil. They got to pump from the bottom of the engine to the top. Gravity feeds it back down. It goes back in. It's an endless cycle. Kind of like the water cycle on the planet, you know? Well, when they go bad, if they don't pump enough pressure, they don't get to the top of the engine. You hear clacking noises, especially when you're idling. If you hear it clacking when it's idling and when you go faster, the clacking goes away. That means it's still got enough pressure to pump it to the top of the engine when the engine's going fast but not slow. And if your oil light comes on, that's another symptom. If you start up a car and it makes a horrible noise, immediately turn it off. Because let's say your oil pump is completely gone. It doesn't work at all. You might be able to save the engine if it just started to do it. But if you let it idle and clank away for a while, the bearings are made out of soft metal. Eat them up and you'll have to rebuild the engine. If you do start hearing noises, turn it off and find out what it is right away. Don't keep driving the thing around, because then it's goodbye engine. Because an oil pump, generally you drop the oil pan or inside there, and it might cost you $500-600. You start hearing noises, you want to fix it soon as you hear that noise. G. Kaplan once says, '08 Dodge Ram 1500, 177,000 miles. Slight vibration seems worse when I slow down. If you're talking about slowing down using the brakes and it vibrates more, your brake rotors are probably warped. Very common thing. That's easy to test. If you're going 65 when there's no one around, hit the brakes reasonably hard. If the steering wheel in the vehicle starts shaking and you let off the brakes and it stops, replace the rotors. Now, if it happens even when you just take your foot off the gas, big old pickup truck, check the universal joints on the drive shafts. They will vibrate when you let off the gas when they're just spinning there. That's an easy way to tell if your U-joints are starting to wear. You call that a tweet. Is there an easy way to get air pockets out of a cooling system without damaging parts? I know what you're talking about. They got vents and stuff, but those vents, sometimes they're made out of plastic. The little crack them open and let the air out, and they'll break, and then you're stuck. Here is the best way anybody can do. If you got a steep driveway, park on the end of the driveway, the steepest part, put the emergency brake on. So your radiator is the highest point. Then, when it's cold, of course, take the radiator cap off, put a big fan in front of the car, open hood, turn the AC on full blast, let it run and watch it. The air generally will burp out of the top because it's higher. If you don't have one, you can jack the front of the car up in the air. That way the radiator will be so high that the air will emigrate out of the radiator cap. As long as you start cold and watch it and have a big fan pushing air, that's a good way of doing it. Now, I'm a professional mechanic. I got equipment. What I got is a vacuum system. And it only costs about $80. You have to have an air compressor to hook it up to make it work. And that just goes, take the radiator cap off, it goes on a radiator, and it sucks all the air out. And then you got a vacuum. And then the other end, you take off the suction end, and you put on a hose that you put in a cooling container. Then you open the valve on that machine. Then the vacuum sucks it all in, and that works great. And I mean, if you got a vacuum pump, or if you have an air compressor, you can buy one of those setups for like $90. They really do work well. There's no arguing it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.